we are going to see little bit history of Python subject. So basically Python is found in 1980s, and it is main found in Netherlands actually. So the implementation of Python is started in December 1989 by Judo van Rossum. This is the name of the founder, which is Dutch programmer who invented Python language in Netherlands. Python is derived from C, Modula 3, C++, Algol 68, Smalltalk, Unix shell and other scripting language. Normally, as per my knowledge, this subject should be there in TY semester number 6. Why? Because till semester 5 you learn C, C++, after that Java, C Sharp. So it is Python is combination of all these language. So the things which are difficult in these different language C, C++, C Sharp are covered in Python. So now you are having knowledge about only C and C++. So other things which are problems in case of C Sharp or Java that you have not known, so you will not understand that this part is executed or this problem of this particular language is solved by the Python. So that is problematic. But just for time being, remember it is derived from so many languages Python. The major feature of Python is derived from the language ABC, which we don't know actually, but there was a language called ABC. It is a kind of scripting language only, and it is known as predecessor of Python. That is, main Python is derived from this ABC language. After that, Python is copyrighted like Perl. Perl is again one of the language, so it is copyrighted. We can create copyright for our version which we have created. After that, Python source code is available under GNU General Public License. Under GNU, the source code is available to the programmers which are licensed programmer. For them, the source code is available. They can only make changes, not us. Python is open source language, that is anybody can download the source file, make modification and republish it. So this is open source language. If you want to download the Python software, then this software is available on www.python.org website. After that, first version of Python was released in 1994. In 2000, Be Open Python Lab, this is one of organization who has again only released one version of Python, which is not that much famous. After that, all the remaining versions are released by one non-profit organization, that is Python Software Foundation, PSF. This is one of the non-profit organization, and this organization has taken the responsibility of Python licensing and all. In Python, in 2008, the third version which we are going to use is released, and in that also we have subversions. So we are going to use 3.4, but in 2008 third version is released. So first one is 1994, after that 2000, and after that 2008. In between also they have the versions declared, but these are the main years where main versions, that is Python 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 are declared. After that, there are small changes made in the different versions. So in case of Python 2 and Python 3, there are some syntax difference. Like if you want to print anything in Python 2, we just write print statement. There was not any round bracket, but in case of Python 3, we have print and then round bracket. So this is one difference. If you want to take input value or input from the user in Python 2.0 version, then there was having raw underscore input method to take value from the user, and the same method is replaced in Python 3 by input method. So these are difference between Python 2 and 3. And then why Python? Why everybody is focusing on Python only? Because first reason is Python works on different platforms. Or there is any operating system, the Python will run on all types of operating system. Second reason why the people are choosing Python, because it is having simple syntax, English language like sentences we are going to write. So this is the reason why the peoples are selecting Python. After that, fewer lines of code we need to write as compared to other programming language. After that, Python runs on an interpreter system, meaning the code can be executed as soon as it is written. Once you have written the line, just enter, click on enter, the program will get executed. It takes only fraction of seconds. So execution is very quick in case of Python. Python can be treated in a procedural way, that is, Python contains the features of object oriented programming languages. They are also there. In Python subject we are having object, classes, constructor, polymorphism, overloading. All these concepts are there in Python also. So this much is there in today's lecture. I hope you have understood this. The points are very as we started with the actual programming, you will come to know why people are taking Python or choosing Python for data science, for artificial intelligence. In so many fields, Python is not now common, because main thing is we need to develop the website, we need to develop the application, and both the things are possible in by using Python. That is, we can develop website also, we can develop applications also, and the line of code which we need to write, that is again simple. The controls which you have seen, like we have radio buttons, right, check boxes, text boxes, label, all these controls are also available in Python. So this is the reason why we can develop the websites and application. We should have all such control, list box, combo box, all these things are available. So basically, the new programmer, if there is a person who want to start his career in programming, then the best suggestion is to learn Python, because for Python developers there are so many jobs are available. Then we don't need to learn that C, C++. Actually, as you know, as you are having little bit knowledge about C and C++, so it will be very difficult for you, because you have already learned the same thing in C and C++. And again, with the comparison of that, you need to remember Python. So the person who is having zero knowledge about programming, for that person it is very best language to learn, because it contains all the topics of all the languages. So this much is there in today's lecture. I will send the lectures alternatively, because if this is a class, then to teach the same thing it takes time, because first I will write the points on the board, then you will copy down that point, and then I will explain. So it will take time, right, if it is a classroom lecture. But now, as we are doing virtual lectures, that is, recording is there, we are completing, or we are done with our syllabus in very fast speed, and it takes time to create this PPT and then do the recording. This is the reason why I will send the lectures alternatively. Means today I have sent, that is on Monday. The next recording, next lecture I will post on Wednesday, by taking 1 day gap, because other work is also there with me. So I hope whatever we have learned about Python is understood by you. For my subject, I don't think we need revision, because there are videos. So you have to simply download this video and save it in your computer. So whenever you want to need revision, just revise or just see these videos. So as you all know, these topics are not going to revise, but by seeing this video you can easily revise the content of at least Python programming subject. Sometimes I will give the assignments also whenever we will get time. Basically, I want to complete as much as syllabus possible. We will revise it in very short manner when the college will start regularly, but till that time these videos are the only one resource for you. I will set the PDF copy of this presentation also. I hope you have understood. Please listen to this video again and again if you have not understood, so everything will get clear. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe. Then next is using an identifier which has not been defined. Means if we are using a particular variable, like in this case a equal to 16 and b equal to 0, but while performing calculation, if I have written c equal to a divided by d, So D is nothing but identifier, that is variable which is not declared, right? So that type of errors again come under runtime error only. After that, accessing list element, dictionary value or object attribute which does not exist. The simple example of this is, we have already seen the concept of array. So array is having a fixed length. So if we have declared the array of 5 elements, and if you are trying to insert the value of 6th element, then definitely you are going to get the error. So list is again a kind of array only, and dictionary is again a list of items only. So when we are trying to access the elements which are or whose index value is not present, so in that case we will get runtime error. And last one is trying to access a file which does not exist. This comes under file handling topic of Python programming. So in this case, if we want to open a file test1.py, okay, or txt, and if that particular file is not present in your system, so definitely we are going to get errors, and that error is nothing but runtime error. After that, next and last type of error is semantic error. Semantic error is also known as logical error. Means it is not like syntax error, and it is also not like runtime error. Your program will be properly executed. You will 101% you are going to get the output. Okay, but the final result or output which you will get, that is not expected, in simple word. So in case of, if we compare these three types of error, then first, syntax error. Because of syntax error you will not get any output, you will not move further until you just correct that particular error. Runtime error, again you will not get output, you will get error message as a output when you run the program which is having runtime error. But in case of semantic errors, you will not get any error, but the output you will get, that is not as expected. So that is semantic error, logical error. For this I have given simple example. I will take age from the user and just display the message whether that particular user is eligible for voting or not. So as we all know, that is, eligible for voting means the age of the user should be greater than or equal to 18. So equal to is again allowed. If the person is age of 18, still that person is eligible for the voting, right? So that condition I have written, if age greater than 18. But now while writing this condition, I forgot to write equal to. That is, we have to consider 18 value also. So what we have to write, age greater than equal to 18. But now in this example, equal to is missing. And there is no syntax error. Okay, there is no runtime error. You will simply run the program, and at the end, now I have initialized age equal to 18. Means what is your expected answer? User is eligible for voting. But the output you will get as user is not eligible because you forgot to put that equal to. So that is logical error. And the interpreter is not going to find out the logical error. There is one mistake in this slide. That is, while writing the note, if age of user is greater than or equal to 28 I have written, it should be 18. So just make these changes. But I hope you have understood what is syntax error, what is runtime error, and what is semantic error, which is also known as logical error. And logical errors are not going to be found out by the compiler or interpreter of any language. That we have to find out where we made mistake. After that, running Python program. So normally this is a very important topic, or in future we have not seen this actually, but this is very very important topic in Python programming, and when we compare Python with other programming language. So normally again, as we know that we are having two types of languages, that is, we are having high level language and low level language. Okay, and if we consider any language, then we are having two elements, that is, we are having interpreters and compilers. Okay, so interpreter reads high level program and execute it, meaning that it does what the program says. It processes the program little at a time, alternately reading lines and performing computation. Interpreter means it will line by line read the program and then try to interpret or try to understand its meaning, and according to the meaning which is understandable by interpreter, it will gives us the answer or output. So first diagram I have shown, that is we are having source code. It is interpreted by the interpreter and then we will get the output. And if we consider the code which is executed by the compiler, so in that situation the process is compiler reads a program, source program, translate it completely before program starts running. In this context, high level program is called as source code, and it is translated into some other language, right? That is called as object code or executable code. And once the program is compiled, means object code is ready, then you can execute it repeatedly without further translation. So normally from this slide I just want to tell you that there are two diagrams. First one is source code, then interpreter, then output. And in second diagram again source code, then we have compiler, then we have object code, then we have executor, and then we will get the output, okay, which is now hidden on the screen because of me. So there is output. So if we compare Python with other programming language like C and C++ language, in such language the program is converted into source code, then compiler convert that particular program into object code, and then it is executed by the executor, and then we will get the output. So definitely so many elements are involved, right? So many processes, components are involved. So definitely it will take time to give the result. Okay, but if we consider Python, so in case of Pythons, programs are executed by the interpreter. So the first diagram, we have direct source code, means your actual high level language program. It is interpreted by the interpreter and then immediately you will get the output. So this is main difference. Python programs are executed by the interpreter, and for the execution of other language program like C, C++, we use compiler. So the process is lengthy. So if we consider Python with other programming language, the process of execution of Python is very fast as compared to other languages. And why it is fast? Because now you are having images in front of you. Compiler, if we are considering that how the program is executed by the compiler, and if we are considering if the program is executed by the interpreter. Okay, so Python is considered as interpreted language because Python programs are executed by the interpreter. This is major difference between Python and other language. Immediate source code is converted into output instead of converting into different other codes. Okay, so that is running Python program. After that, when we run the Python program, we are having two modes, interactive mode and script mode. Interactive mode, in the interactive mode we will simply write down the expression, and once we click on enter button we will immediately get the output. That is interactive mode. And script mode is like other programming language. We are having a notepad like window on which we will write down the code, then we will click on the run or compile button, okay, and then we will get the output. So that is script mode. Actually I am not elaborating this point in this session because it is a part of second chapter of Python programming. In that we are going to see the interactive mode and script modes example. But in case of interactive mode, you will simply write down the expression, and once you click on enter button you will immediately get the output. As I have given in this slide, 1 plus 1, as I enter, after 1 plus 1 I will click on enter button, we will get output as 2. And in case of script mode, we will write the program on notepad like structure. We will save that particular program with .py extension because it's Python. As you all know that C language is having extension as .c. C++ is having .cpp. Similarly, Python language is having extension as .py. Okay. Then next topic is experimental debugging. Experimental debugging, actually on this topic you will not be having any question, but you should know what is experimental debugging. Experimental debugging means from my end, if I want to explain this topic, then it is process of learning actually. Means if I have started learning the programming, then I will try different programs. Okay, and after execution of that particular program, definitely we will get, sometimes we will get error, sometimes we will not get error, but from that errors we will get some idea that we have to write like this is not done, or this is not okay with this particular programming language. Means by experiment of writing different code, we are checking, right, that or we are writing a program which will at the end will gives us the expected output. So that is experimental debugging. We are doing the experiments, we are writing small programs, then making modifications in that program. If we are getting errors after that execution of that particular program, then we are learning something from it, we are making the modification, and we will do this process until we will get the expected output. So that is called as experimental programming. With the help of clue, or with the help of your the logical power of your mind, we will try new programs to learn particular language. That is nothing but experimental debugging. And actually most of the programmer experiment, debugging and programming is same, but no, debugging and programming is different concept. In case of programming, we never write the program which will contain the errors, right? If somebody gives me requirement, so I will try to write the program on the basis of requirement which will give the exact output which is expected by the client, right? We will not write the program which will contain the errors. So programming means we are trying to write a code whose output will get the expected output, right? And if we are not getting the expected output, then we will make the modification until we will get the output. So that is nothing but experimental debugging. I hope this topic is understood by you. As this topic is given in your syllabus, that's why I am asking, because this is not that much important topic. And then last topic of today's session is natural and formal languages. Natural languages like English, Spanish, or our mother tongues are nothing but natural languages. And basically natural languages are full of ambiguity. Ambiguity means the words in different languages. So, or we can say that the same word in different languages is having different meaning. For example, somebody said that in Hindi, that is kal ana, right? But kal means the day before today is considered in Marathi language. So it creates confusion. Means the single word is having different meaning. That is ambiguity, which is problem in natural languages. But formal language means there are specific structure of writing or speaking that particular language. That is formal language. Means in other words, all the programming languages are formal language. Means all the programming languages are having their own syntax, which we have to follow. If we never follow the syntax, our program is not going to get executed. This is simple concept. So formal language. So this topic is there, natural and formal language. In case of formal language, ambiguity is not there, because we are having the concept of keywords. So it is already specified that keywords are not used as a variable name. So the rules and regulations are fixed, and according to rules and regulations only the program will get executed. If we doesn't follow any rules and regulation, our program is not going to get executed. So that is formal language. So normally Python is again formal language, which has been designed to express the computation. So this much is there in today's session. I hope you have understood all the topics. So actually officially today we are going to complete with this first chapter of Python unit 1, and we have already started with the second chapter also. That is, we have seen variables, right, data types. So that is part of second chapter actually. In first chapter, as I have displayed in the previous slide, that much syllabus is there. And one more question is there in which is again very important question of this chapter, that is estimate or give the difference between brackets, braces and curly brackets, which I have not added in this slide because the bracket, braces and curly brackets you will use along with some data types like list, tuple, string, dictionary. With such data types we are going to use brackets, braces and curly brackets, right? And these are separate chapters in further unit which we have not started. So after completion of all these data types, you will understand the exact meaning of what is braces, what is brackets and what is parenthesis. Or for just time being, I can tell you the difference. That is, in other programming language also we are using braces. So braces is nothing but curly braces. Okay, so just to specify the scope, we normally use curly bracket. But in case of Python, for dictionary, initialization of dictionary, declaration of dictionary, we use curly brackets. Sorry, that is curly bracket. After that we are having parenthesis. Parentheses are nothing but round brackets. Okay, and then we use curly brackets. So square brackets. So square brackets are basically used when we have seen the array topic, right? So how we declare the array int a, then within square bracket we are writing the 0. So like we are having list, we will use the curly brackets. Parentheses, that is round brackets, are used to declare tuples, and curly brackets are used to declare dictionary in Python programming. At least for time being, just remember these things. Again I am repeating, square brackets are for list, round brackets are for tuple and curly brackets are for dictionary. So these brackets, braces and parentheses we are using for this purpose in Python. So this is your now we are done with our first chapter. So please start learning, start studying the particular topic. And now we have not actually started with the Python programming. These are basic concept, but all these concepts are totally different as compared to other programming language. So the things are very small, but there are so many such small things which we need to remember. So please daily see the videos, or if you are not having time to listen to the video, at least see the PDF file which I am sending. Just see the how we should declare the variable, or how to use print statement. So whatever we have learned till now, just try to repeat the same, because Python is very useful for this semester also, and in other semester also you are having we can say that practical program will be there which will be based on Python. So you should be clear with the concept of this particular programming language. So just try to listen to the videos or try to see all the PDF files what we have included. Just हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, एक नज़र फेरना उसके ऊपर. So this much is there in today's lecture. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe.